You're listening to the 808s and Joysticks podcast, now available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome to episode 21 of 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games, music, season with pop culture. I'm Tyrell, and joining me today as always is Tom.
So, once again, over the past few weeks, it's been very busy in gaming. We just had the VGAs the other day, so the Video Game Awards for the full year, and yeah, we watched it live. I don't think it ended till 5 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. So it was, it was a good night for games in general. We've seen a lot of good games nominated for stuff, and a few unlikely winners in some areas as well. You were a bit disappointed that Kojima didn't show up. I know that.
Yeah, I was, because I was waiting up and I was trying to watch it, waiting for a trailer or something to come out, and I didn't hear a single thing. I didn't see anything. No Kojima was in the crowd or anything like that, so I don't know what happened there. I just thought that they would have at least said something, seeing as the game was supposed to come out by at least next year. So... And I think they say it's done now. Like, the game has been, it's near completion. So I don't know what's taking them so long. I'm speaking to a friend of mine, and they said that what if it's going to be like a next generation game? And I think you also said that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's not going to be a full next gen game, but I have a feeling it might be like a launch title for a PS5 or something, and come out at the same time on both platforms.
If that was the case, then we would see in 2020.
But
or 2021, or whenever they're going to release the next gen console, because we're not quite sure, but it will be coming around that kind of 2020, 2021 kind of window.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if it is... Listen, I don't know if that's a viable thing for them to do, considering that obviously they're going to be trying to sell new next gen consoles. If they then end up porting launching a game on two consoles on the same day, and everyone's already got one console, it's probably not the best business plan. So that's where I think that they probably won't do that.
Yeah, I understand that they wouldn't really do it like that, but also, I'm thinking, I don't know how much Sony believes in this game, because it doesn't really seem to be like a traditional game or anything like that. So for them to sell it as a launch title on the PS4 and on the PS5, that's a little bit, it's a bit of a risk for Sony, in my opinion. But I don't know. It is Kojima at the end of the day, so I can't see why he couldn't, move units with a system. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that it's a new IP as well, so it's harder to establish a new brand rather than an already established brand. And he's only known Metal Gear and Zone of the Enders, and then Silent Hills. He was tied to those are the only things that people really know him for.
I think if we don't see it next year, I think that there's a possibility they could be trying to make the game compatible with PlayStation 5, but I think it will come to current gen consoles and then be ported over when it launches.
What's interesting is the fact that the technical director, or the technical... I can't remember his full role, but basically the guy who created the architecture for the PS4 is working on the team of Death Stranding at the moment. So I'm thinking, obviously, having someone like that on the team allows you to get the full capacity out of the machine in it. So I'm thinking maybe he's also doing the PS5 development, and they're working so to make sure the game will be okay for the PlayStation 5 and the 4 together. That makes sense.
I think to me that makes sense. It also makes sense that they try and push the best they can out of a console during the last stages of its life cycle.
Oh, yeah, what's got it? Mike Cerny. That's him. Mike Cerny. He's the technical producer at the moment on Death Stranding, and he was the exec on Spider-Man. So that's just game-wise, but I know that he was a lead architect on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Vita. So you can see how the Vita and the PlayStation 4 works very well together. With the way how it has the remote play and stuff, you can see that he's definitely made sure those two products like link together. So it shouldn't be a far cry to, allow him to make sure that this game could be played amongst multiple systems. Plus, he's got a back catalogue of like so many core titles in the PlayStation's life cycle and core titles in Sega's lifestyle, Sega as well, as he was the producer on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So this seems to be like someone who I could definitely like see making sure the game is accessible on both systems.
Yeah, I think it's viable. I think we'll probably see something early next year.
Yeah, for sure. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the winners or the announcements? I don't really know what to start with, because the announcements they're big, but not that big.
Yeah, I think we start with the
winners. I don't really even care about
the winners.
We can just talk about certain like categories, because some of the smaller ones like didn't even get like time on the stage. Like, we don't really talk about it, so we'll leave Game of the Year to last.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in stuff, you probably already know what Game of the Year is anyway. But we'll just talk over. So
to be honest, we'll just talk about it. So best esports game was Overwatch. We already knew that. Best multiplayer game, Fortnite. We already thought we was already going to know that. Mm-hmm. Best sports and racing game. I don't understand why they always do the same games. The exact same games for this category.
What, sports and racing?
I just don't think sports and racing should be in one category together. I think there's enough racing games now to differentiate, like, from sports. But then again, racing games are there's not really a point where you can make a racing game much more impressive than it already is, because it's very much already to the point of like maximizing a racing game. Like, the only thing you can do better is you can more better graphics. Smoothness of the car is better, but I think driving game wise, like, it says racing, but there's only one racing game in the category, when I know for a fact like 4 came out last year.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would probably give Forza in that category out of FIFA, Mario Tennis Aces, NBA 2K, and Pro Evo. For me, Forza Horizon would win that.
I couldn't say I'm not letting Nintendo rock. Tennis Aces is not a real sports game. I couldn't really say that's a sports game, like, because there's just too much gimmicks in it. Like,
nah, it was still pretty, like, at the end of the day, it's still a tennis game. Like, you still, it's gimmicky, but it is a tennis game, and it plays quite well.
I do understand that, but I just feel like there's probably better sports games that would deserve of like a nomination, and definitely over FIFA 19. I don't know what that's doing there, and I think NBA 2K19 as well. I'm hearing from people that it wasn't that great of an NBA this year, and
it's all right.
And
yeah,
PES is always there because that's just the 2 football games that are around at the moment. So I did kind of expect them to be there too. But sports and racing, that's always a weird one, because I just don't think they should consolidate the two. But that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. We also seen things such as content creator stream of the year now. So obviously Ninja won that one. Most of these people were Fortnite players, weren't they?
I didn't care about this category. I just thought to myself, like, you're going to put content creator stream of the year, like, but what content do these people make except for, like, streaming Fortnite? There's nothing special about them. I don't resonate with any of them. Like, all they do is the same stuff. Like, there's so much better content creators out there that, like, we watch that deserve an award over these guys, like, who all just do the same thing. Exactly the same thing. There's no difference, except for one happens to be female. There's the only like thing that and they do this in every category. They try and shoehorn in one token female in front of everyone else just to make a point that we've got a nomination in there. I just think it's stupid, and they really need to rethink this area. If you're going to do Streamer of the Year, do that separately, because that's big enough. That definitely is big enough on its own to be in its own category. I don't know why they're doing, because there was all streamers. There was no YouTubers in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're not content creators. They stream. They live stream. They don't create the content. They are doing it while it's happening. They're not creating it at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's a lot harder to actually create content than it is to stream content.
Of course it is. Like, you just got a camera on you, and all you got to do is sit there and play Fortnite, and that's it. Like, your videos then get recorded and people post them on YouTube, and they become big of it. Like, me personally, I fair enough on Ninja, like, massive year for him, but like, I tried watching him one time and I thought, this is garbage. What is this? Like, I'm watching one of the best players in the world play this game that I'm not that good at. It doesn't teach me anything. He's not teaching anybody anything. He's just bragging. Like, I didn't get it. Like,
it's what kids like, though, innit?
As I said,
OTT reactions.
I feel like I'm old. Like, I really don't understand it. This is not something I'm understanding. So
it's all about playing up to the hype and stuff like that. So it's like when PewDiePie first came on the scene. When he was playing horror games, and he got big because of the reactions he was given to the horror games. And Ninja's sort of the same, like, and it's the same with COD streamers and stuff.
Yeah, but even though I don't really like PewDiePie that much, like, he's different in the sense of where, like, he still makes YouTube videos, or like, he still does something. Like, yeah, fair enough, he's probably got a whole fucking production team behind him now because of how big he is, but he still actively tries to make things, whereas like, this guy just sits on Fortnite, like, and when Fortnite's done, then what? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I always think about, because there's significant big PUBG streamers who are no longer relevant anymore, or they're all playing Fortnite now. And now they're smaller streamers now, because the Fortnite streamers are already there. So when the next big game comes along, which could be round the corner, you don't even know these days, because PUBG was the biggest thing in the world until Fortnite came out and got popular. So
interesting. I was watching or looking at a rundown the other day of the best-selling games of all time, and PUBG actually sold 50 million copies. Fortnite obviously wasn't included on that because it's free to play, but
yeah,
still, for a game of that standard coming from an unknown developer in a way.
I think the whole 50 million selling that amount, that's all well and good, but at the same time, like, what have they done with that 50 million? The game is still really bad, like, to the point where I think it's actually kind of sickening that they sold 50 mil, because I'm thinking to myself, like, so you sold that amount of money, where am I seeing the reinvestment? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not seeing it being reinvested into the game. Like, the game is still stagnant. Like, how can Fortnite be much more better and much more, you know?
The difference is the size of the team they've got.
But that's not an excuse anymore, because they've got a big team now. PUBG actually have a big team. They're a subsidiary of Bluehole, and they're like from PUBG Corporation. They're not that small team anymore, you know, Tom. They're a much more larger team than the Fort. Like, I think they're probably even in the same scale. They have to be on the same scale as them.
The people that were originally helping PUBG make Bluehorn make PUBG were Epic Games, and then Epic Games, obviously, they know how to utilize their engine to maximize the potential.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I think the problem is, because the game isn't bad, it's just got a lot of issue. I can't think of the word. It's like optimization issues is what it's got. And I think that it's lacking that because it doesn't have people that specialize in knowing how to adapt this engine.
So I mean, on the back end, yeah. Okay, so when PUBG got picked up by Bluehole, on the back end, it's a Korean dev which is mostly focuses on programming. And they're a pretty big company and they've worked on massive MMOs in Korea and stuff like that. So they have a good backup team that's sufficient enough to fix the problems in the game. Because especially if it's a dev company that is mostly focused on programming, I don't really understand why they didn't do anything about it. Apparently in the core team, like the design team, there's about 30 or 35 people in there. But if the programming is mostly done by Bluehole on the back end, I can't see why the game shouldn't have been fixed in a timely manner. And that was about a year ago, and the game still isn't fixed. So I don't really understand. Like I see what you're saying. It's a small team, but if they've got such a massive corporation behind them with that much backing and money, there's no excuse. Epic is big, but the team working on Epic, like, I'm doing research about Bluehole. Bluehole seems to be a much bigger company in terms of like what they've got.
The difference is Epic know the engine they're working with, and they can do stuff that PUBG can't do to the engine.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they can't do those kind of things, but I'm just saying that they've got the manpower. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, you can't say you have a small team. Like, you were saying that they had a small team, and that was the reason why they couldn't rise to the challenge. But that's not the reason why they couldn't rise to the challenge. If it was a lack of knowing about the engine, don't make the game in that engine. Like, I'm going to be cynical, but you have to be with like these kind of games, because now everyone's trying to think of, well, what can PUBG do next? And all they've done is released a winter map.
Yeah, the difference is though, so they didn't expect people that they made the game or to make a better game than them. But also, like, it's for them when they were making the game, it's probably the most viable engine to make it in. But you don't expect it to be possibly as popular as it would be, and for them to use a different engine, they'd have to build their own engine.
Yeah, of course. Which I think is what the next step should be for PUBG anyway. If they want to like establish their own style and do their own things, then the next step would be to use their own engine, or at least an offshoot of what they're like, of the Unreal engine in their own way, so they can then start to create, you know, proprietary like maps and stuff like that. So they can have a system in place in order to be better at, like, you know, development. But, you know, that's all, you know, that's all great to say, but, you know, it's not as easy, to be honest, so, to do something like that. So, I'll see where PUBG is going to go, but as I said, it's being released on PlayStation 4 now, because I feel like they just was... It wasn't doing as well as they wanted it to do on Xbox, or it was just simply their time was up. But I always thought that PUBG was going to be a Microsoft exclusive forever. That's what I thought, but I must be wrong.
It sort of flopped, didn't it? Because it died when it came out. That's what I was saying. It was not stable at all. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what comes of that. Moving on to other things such as esports athletes. This is a category that I'm quite, you know, I like the fact that there is something for an esports athlete of the year, and they're getting nominated at something as big as the Video Game Awards. You know, I think Jeff Keighley's really doing well, building the show up and making it into something a little bit like the Oscars for games in a way.
Yeah, it's very what's called it. It's really big. It's grown a lot, but at the same time, it's still that's what the problem is. It still falls into the same plot holes, as in like it's trying to be like the Oscars and that. And in that sense, you shouldn't follow that route, because it just makes it seem really weird. Like, because it's all really serious, and like everyone just thinks that everyone has to be serious, and like the industry that they're in and the community that surrounds that kind of, you know, it's not much of a serious manner, into the point of where everyone has to be, you know, on stage and there's musical performances like every minute. I'm just thinking to myself, like, God, I don't want to hear the Red Dead soundtrack orchestrated ever again. I don't want to hear that. Like, I just thought it was really pointless. Like, I just really didn't understand why we had to keep having musical rendition. It was so long as well. Like, it wasn't just a short thing. I felt like it was taking up time in my day. Like listening to like this rendition of a song that I really didn't want. Like the Devil May Cry one was so cringy. Oh, it was so hard to watch. It's just terrible.
I sort of like the way that they got all the composers from the games to come on with like Hans Zimmer and stuff and actually do orchestrating.
Like, no, I would have liked that if they did it at the end, but I didn't like the fact that they kept doing it like mid-show. If you know what I mean. Like, I would have liked it to do like a medley at the end or like a medley at the beginning, like, but in the middle of the show, like, we just got like, so now we're gonna go over to the orchestra for another set about Red Dead. I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear Red Dead like live. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just odd. It was odd to me. It was odd.
Yeah.
But, apart from it though, but Esports Athlete of the Year was Sonic Fox. Very deserving of that. He's won nearly every tournament this year. He's apparently coming for Smash Bros. If he does that, I don't think we've ever had a person who's won all the games, like every single game. So he's won Dragon Ball, he won Injustice, I think he won Street Fighter. If he wins Smash Bros, he literally would be like he'll have like 6 rings or something like that. Like,
you have to grow another finger.
You can have 2 rings on one hand, you know. Have you not seen Michael Jordan?
No, exactly. I was just joking, but we'll see. He actually didn't turn up to the after party either. He went back to play games, which I like.
That's a true champion right there, man. That's a true champion. He is really good at the game, though. Like, he probably will end up becoming like the Smash champion as well, and that's never been seen before. Like, having someone know so much games, like, because Smash is a different game to Injustice, and Injustice is a different game to Dragon Ball FighterZ, and Dragon Ball FighterZ is a very different game to Street Fighter. And then Mortal Kombat 11 was announced, which we will talk about soon, because that was very interesting. I was so well done, Esports Athlete of the Year. His speech and everything's getting a lot of flat, but we're not here to talk about that. So
it happens, doesn't it? Like,
yeah,
fair play. I didn't actually mind his speech. I thought his speech was pretty good.
I think to the point of where, like, it's just one of them in it, like, where people always try and say, oh, like, we want to keep politics out of games, but politics is in games. It's a part of the game industry. It's not, like, you think it isn't, but politics really is. Like, that's the reason why we're having this problem at the moment with loot boxes and stuff. Like, politics is forever going to be in games. Like, we're always going to have something to talk about.
I don't see why politics should be taken out of I think if there's anywhere to discuss politics, the best place to be would be one of the most creative, diverse places in the industry. I also happen to think as well. Sorry, I always happen to think that this also the game community. That's a real big area where I feel like people it's missing. Like, politics is a miss in that area. Like, I feel like people don't vote or stuff like that. Like, in the community, the comments and stuff that I see from the community, I feel like they just don't really delve in politics that much. Like, they're just very much blind to it. Like, they don't bother with trying to, educate themselves or anything about, what kind of like policies and things that they would like. Obviously, it's different in America to in England, whereas I feel like us in school, we was taught about politics in a terms, like, in a sense, like, we was like told about voting and stuff like that, whereas in America, it seems a lot more misplaced. Do you know what I mean? I sort of get what you mean, but I'm like, as I was saying about like the fact that it's a combination of film, music, animation, art, technology, everything put together as one. It's a combination of all the industries, and it's the most diverse industry you could probably get, with the most diverse and creative and quirky people. And that is exactly what modern politics is basically about. Like, it's allowing everyone to be equal is what they're trying to push for. So why take that out of the most diverse industry ever? Like, you either have to go with it and use the industry as a force behind you.
You know what it is? It's also certain people are also mad because of just the way how, like, it will forever be like that within the industry. Like, we're gonna know there's racists, there's people who are homophobic, there's people who don't like the fact that people identify as, like, being a part of a certain subculture, whether it be you're a furry or you're a brony or whatever. Like, that happens with our community, and I've come to learn that's gonna happen, and I'm sure you've come to learn that. We've experienced it, haven't we? We've known that people will be like this, but that's just a part of the games community, and it's nothing bad. And I feel like people should just, like, start to just become like, you know, it's a thing, and, you know, just get over it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just games at the end of the day. It's not affecting your real life, like your personal life. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I was looking into, like, the actual definition of what people think of furries the other day, because for me it was interesting to see Sonic Fox win and, like, go up in his outfit, and, you know, it is odd. I'm not gonna, like, sit here and say, no, let's not even, like, trip over it. It's very odd. Like, it's odd, but we as a people are allowed to say that that's an odd thing to see. I've not personally met someone who's a furry. I've got no, like, dismay or anything towards them. Like, I think it's really interesting that, you know, you identify yourself in this community. Like, it's interesting. Like, I've never seen something like that before. Like, it's very different to my life. So for him to, like, be like that, like more power to him, really. Like, do whatever, like, best player in the world. Well, yeah, I think that's the whole point of his speech. It was about the fact that, you know, he could prove people wrong a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just looking up what people thought of it the other day, and the thing is, like, the definition is actually just someone that likes anamorphic characters with human tendencies. So basically, like, if you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog,
yeah,
you could basically say loosely that you are a furry in that category. And, like, the people that identify with it a bit more and go to conventions and stuff, like, okay, that's, like, it's sort of like their hobby. They enjoy drawing about it and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they draw, and they to have costumes and...
Yeah, but then there's always that minority that always takes stuff a bit too far in anything that you ever will see in the world. And the trouble is, once that minority does something, everyone else is then afraid to talk about it and say that they're part of that community, because everyone associates that minority with that whole community.
Yeah, and I think that's why it was important for Sonic Fox to go on a big stage like that and talk in his actual costume and say the things that he said, because there seems to be, what I've seen is there seems to be a group in the furry community that, like, seem to really hate gay furries and stuff like that, like, and, like, they're really just they're not about it. Like, there was like, oh, he's ruining our community and stuff like that, and it's kind of weird. Like, I just didn't really think that in that community that there still would be some sort of, like, you know, bias. Like, I didn't think that, you know, or, like, homophobia, because I thought, you're a furry, you're not even, like, I didn't even know if they identified, like, gender wise, like, because they're furries. Like, I didn't know. But the fact that, like, people were so angry at the fact that he said he was gay and he was a furry, they were saying that he was infringing on their community, and I had no idea. Like, this is nothing to do with us, so I don't know what to say. I have no stance on it. I just thought it was really weird to see that, like, that interaction take place on Twitter after, like, where everyone was just getting so upset about his speech.
To me, that doesn't make sense. Like,
it's the Game Awards, for God's sake. Like, it's not that important. Like, I don't really understand.
I don't want to get too political, but, like, if you're saying that it's infringing upon your whatever and you want equality, you have to at the same time give it to the other people. Like, you can't have just equality for one section, because that's not equality. Equality means everything. not just one section that you want, because that's you. And this is sort of goes back to the point we made about why politics should maybe be more involved in games, because it'll maybe teach people that, you know, it's not just about you. I feel like not everyone, but like there is a vocal minority within the gaming industry as fans that are very, I don't know, not self-absorbed, it's probably the wrong word to say, but very blind to other things that go on. And, you know, there's a lot of impatient people out there, and a lot of people that are quick to throw abuse at people if they don't get their own way. And yeah, we see that with a lot of games that come out when they get delayed and stuff, but I feel like it's sort of breaching over into other areas now, and it could come out of hand if people don't learn about it.
This is almost kind of the problem. I'm like, we're super going to wrap this up after this, because this is getting a bit longer. Like that's just a whole like area now, whereas we have so much like places and platforms to voice our opinions, and that opinion can get liked and it can get retweeted, and other people can agree with it and other people could disagree with it. And I think it gets into a wider situation where, you know, it starts to sprawl out basically and starts to get out of hand, especially if one person, as you said before, it'd be a small vocal minority, and their voice will get heard the loudest because they're shouting the loudest, because there's only a few of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then it gets caught. Blogs start picking it up. All sorts of people start picking it up. Do you know what I'm saying? And you just got to think to yourself, like, well, where do I really go from here? Like, as a community, but I feel like we should have a much more wider conversation about that, because that is about the games industry and community is its most profitable, most popular it's ever been, but it's also its most worst, like in terms of like customer communication and feedback, and in terms of talking to just other people. I feel like we as a community need to look at ourselves in the mirror and, you know, make ourselves become more respected. We're not a respected software. Like, everyone respects music and everyone respects film and TV, but gaming still never gets any respect. And I think it's because they see the childish acts of our community sometimes, and they feel like we can't take them serious.
Yeah, I feel like big corporations do feel like they could take advantage of that. And, you know, I don't want to say that I forgive them for that, but I can understand why, because at the end of the day, they're business people, and their investment is there for them to make money. They don't care about, you know, a lot of other things. They care about how much money can we make off this? Is there an opportunity to make more money? Because they're business minded. That's what they do. Yeah, so,
exactly.
You know, if they read the customer base and go, you know, they're probably more in turn to buying this or this. Same with microtransactions. That's why we've seen a lot of increase in them because of that reason. But we are going off topic. And we have been going off topic, so we need to sort of wrap up the winners of the final games.
Yeah. We do need to wrap up the winners. We'll just do it quickly, man. I don't really know what to even like. Let's just pick out a few. Let's just say that Red Dead won a lot, and I felt like they shouldn't have, but because it literally just came out, I don't think it was really fair. God of War got best game direction. Best ongoing game is Fortnite. I feel like that should have probably should have went to maybe Rainbow Six Siege or Overwatch.
I agree with Fortnite.
I feel like maybe no, that's just personally, and like Fortnite should have definitely won because it is the best ongoing game. They have incredibly like the way how they come with their events, and it all happens in real time in game. I think that's impressive. I've never seen something like that before.
I think it's been a breath of fresh air. I think that's why it's so successful. Like, I think the game was successful to start with, but then I think the reason it's so successful still is, and continually growing actually, is because of how they've implemented all this ongoing stuff, and they're constantly changing how it plays. I think that's the thing. There's always something fresh to go back to for free. And as a gamer, you know, even, you know, we bash Fortnite and stuff, and no, I don't like the community around it, but I was still tempted to go and play Season 7 the other day, just because of the fact they're still adding stuff to the game. Like, it's a different game to what we played.
They're forever. Yeah, the game is different. I have actually had a chance to actually play it recently, and it is a very different game. It's not the same as when we played it in like Season 2, where it was very much not bare bones, but it was just the world that we knew as it was. But now there's so many different variables in the game. There's so many different things you can do. There's so many different guns, different ways to craft now. Like, everyone's playing style has changed as well. Like, you're starting to see more and more people who are very good at the game, rather than everyone just running around and building houses on their own. Like, so it's really interesting. God of War won Game of the Year, which is expected. Incredible game. It's nice to
still need to pick it up.
Still need to pick it up as well. Very incredible game.
It's a tough life of being a student. Sometimes you can't actually afford to get the games that you want to get. You have to sacrifice and pick a game at a time when you've got money.
Well, thingy, you know what we should do? We should see how much it is on the PlayStation Store. It was like split or whatever.
Well, I'm hopefully getting it for Christmas. So
okay, fair enough.
We'll see.
All right then, cool. Yeah, that was as I said, Red Dead won a lot. Also, a game called Celeste won like 2 games, which I've never seen, never played, but they was supposed to be a really good game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Celeste is it's meant to be a pretty good indie game. The sound design was also pretty good on that. The actual what was it? The lead composer, I think.
Yeah, she was there. She was
I think her name's Lana, and she actually got to play with Hans Zimmer, and for her, I think that was like a big thing. So it's nice to see that the Game Awards are able to give people that opportunity to, it's not even games, that's musically someone's getting the opportunity to live out their dreams. And it's nice to see that there's that cross between different industries coming together a bit more now. And also, we should point out the fact that Reggie, Sean, and Phil, Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox leads, you could say the faces of them, were all on stage together at the start of the game show. And as much as we hear about them, going against each other all the time, it's nice to see them stood there and actually showing that the industry is still, at the end of the day, they're all still trying to get towards the same goal for the same people, and it's nice to see that.
In some sort of way, like it made me feel like, okay, like hopefully now that these 3 guys are on the stage, we're gonna, they've had conversations. Well, they always do have conversations. That's the one thing we get twisted about the game industry. It's not like basketball or football. Like, these people don't hate each other. They're all out here making money, like, together, really. Like, they all help each other out in some way. The same way how as Microsoft and Nintendo helped each other out with the Minecraft crossplay, and like how like PlayStation is now involving themselves in crossplay. Like, I can see these 3 guys coming together to create something even bigger, like hopefully in the future, and just allowing players everywhere just to play. It doesn't matter what console you have, like, we should all be able to play together, like, especially on games that are free.
Mm-hmm.
And not bound to like an exclusivity. But speaking of exclusivities, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced. That is a Switch exclusive. It's called Black Order. Coming in 2019, April, I think. And it's 10 years after the last game in the series. And it's published by Nintendo, which suggests to me is definitely going to be an exclusive on the Switch. And I don't think it's going to come anywhere else. So that's really interesting that Nintendo keeps snapping up these little exclusives from certain companies.
Is it Ultimate Alliance 2 that was pulled from Steam? Yeah, it was.
Was 2 pulled from Steam?
I think so.
I know they had some legal issues with that game. Because I swear it got pulled from the digital stores on PlayStation. But I know there's that's right. There's a remaster now of 1 and 2 on PlayStation 4. So they might be bringing the remaster to the PC.
Yeah, because it did get pulled from Steam 1 and 2. Got pulled from digital stores.
We just keep doing...
We'll see.
Karen. I was gonna say, just keep doing a quick rundown because we're well over at the moment. So Far Cry New Dawn, what would you think about this, Tom? Because it's like it takes place after the events of Far Cry 5. So this is, are you happy that it takes place after? Like, do you know why it takes place after? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I understand why it takes place after and stuff. You should probably play the game if you haven't. I can give you the game to play and you can play the game. You might understand a little bit more why then. I don't want to spoil the ending, but it makes sense. It is a slightly cheaper game. I like the bloom and stuff they've got going on and the bright colours. Apparently they did a lot of research on this with actual scientists about what would happen if a nuclear reaction did go off, and a lot of desertification stuff. So what would happen if places had more of a desert-like biome? And they've done a lot of research into that and designed the game based on that. I think that's interesting, especially as a cheaper game. It is the same map, but it's very varied compared to other stuff. So things are either not in the same place because they've been destroyed, or they're being rebuilt, or things have slightly changed. It's still a different experience, and it's got some recurring characters. So it's like a Far Cry 5.1 in a way. But it's nice to have a sort of side sequel, because I think Primal worked quite well for that for them. And I don't think they're pushing for major audiences here. I think they're pushing for people that, enjoyed Far Cry 5 and want a bit more.
Well, I'm hoping that the game is going to have a good amount of content in it. I hope they haven't rushed this. I hope this wasn't a DLC that they thought, oh wait, we could just throw this out as a full-blown game. Like,
no, they had different studios working on it, so it has been like in development, I believe.
Okay, that's good then.
But I think it's only £30 to £40 retailing, so it's probably like two-thirds half price of what a normal game would be. So you can expect good content, but maybe not as long as Far Cry 5.
Yeah, it might be a bit more smaller. By the sounds of that, it sounds like it's going to be a smaller scale game, but
the map's still the same. So, you still got that whole map to roam around in open world.
No, I was going to say in terms of
different.
I was going to say in terms of things to do, maybe like missions won't be as long, or you know, objectives and things won't be as major as they were in Far Cry 5, just due to the scale. But anyway, carry on. Supergiant's new game is in early access now. That's been put on the Epic Game Store. Creator of Bastion Empire announced Hades. It's like a roguelike dungeon crawler. It's available right now. It has the same isometric look as their previous games, which some people aren't really happy about, and some people who are fans of that kind of look are very happy that they've continued in that style. I think if that's their style, they should carry on with that.
I don't see why they should change it, because
I don't think they should change it, because it's hard for a studio who,
it's their identity.
It's their like blueprint. So if they want to carry on with that, like nobody really complains about games that carry on with the exact same thing. Like, we have continuously seen BioWare create Mass Effect type games for a while now. Like, why is no one, and this time there is no branching narratives in Anthem, so you're just gonna get Mass Effect without the story, basically. You still like Anthem, but I don't. I think it looks terrible.
I don't know. I don't like it.
It just looks really boring, like empty. I don't really know what it's about.
The game looks interesting, but I think it's one of those you're gonna have to wait and see when it comes out, because the trouble is they're doing a lot of new things and they're not really explaining how they're doing them that well. Yeah,
like, I feel like they're having a really hard time with explaining the game to people. Like, that story trailer was really, really confusing. Like, I had no idea what the game still... You couldn't ask me right now what Anthem's about.
Well, the trouble is, I don't know if that story trailer is going to be primarily you can just do that single player and don't have to be involved with anyone else in the world.
Well, didn't they say that it's all online, though? That's what I heard.
That's the thing.
Well, what's the point? I'm not. I'm not playing these games all online. I'm not doing it. I don't like the fact that I can't play by myself. I don't want to carry on and keep running into people. It's annoying. Anyway, more positive and better. Like, Crash Team Racing comes out June 21st. Comes out on all systems.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Straight away, I'm really excited because Crash Team Racing was hard. Can't wait. The Outer Worlds, so I say, basically
Borderlands.
Nah, it was not Borderlands. More like Fallout. It's the creators of Obsidian.
Borderlands, isn't it?
It's the creator of the last Fallout. Essentially, Bethesda's fucked. They're done. Obsidian's come back, and they're just like, you know what? We're gonna make our own Fallout. It's going to be set more towards space. It's basically essentially what Fallout should have evolved into. It looks like Fallout New Vegas in space. And it's set to release in 2019. And the game looks really good. So if you guys out there are dissatisfied with your Fallout 76, which I know you are, wait until 2019. And you'll see something, you'll see something that might be a little bit more resemblant of what you used to play back in the day. Hello Games.
I'm interested in picking that up.
I'm not really interested in the Fallout games, but that game seems like they've actually took the time to actually make a very interesting game. Like, it doesn't look like Fallout again. Like, it looks nice. Like, it doesn't look like in the same dusty Bethesda engine. Like, it looks good. It looks interesting, at least. Mm-hmm. The Last Campfire by Hello Games. Apparently it's a Hello Games short, whatever the hell that means. That's from No Man's Sky developer. Sorry, guys, we're going through this really, really quick. PlayerUnknown's Battleground is getting a winter map. I guess, I don't really know what that's about. Studio Wildcard announced this Atlas, which looks insane.
Yeah, this game looks good.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was thinking, this looks a bit mad. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. It's a survival game.
Sorry, Garen. It's made by the developers of Ark, which in itself is a pretty good online game. But the trailer basically starts off and it's just like showing a few pirate ships, and you're like, oh, okay, someone's took the I can't even remember what that game's called now. What's Microsoft's pirate game? Sea of Thieves, that's it. Someone basically took Sea of Thieves and, made it into like an Ark type game where you can get off the land and shoot and stuff like that, And then there's dragons, and there's a castle, and then there's like cannons and horses and battles, and fuck knows what was going on at that point. Like, it just basically, like, they just turned it up and everything just came out of nowhere. The description for the game is an MMO survival game with pirates and dragons, and has a map 12,000 times the size of Ark. Which is crazy.
Vast. That is, it's really vast. Comes to Xbox next year, I'm assuming, under their early access little deal they've got going on over there.
I assume that means it also will be coming to PC. But don't hold me to that.
It probably will. If it's coming to Xbox, it will be on their Play Everywhere thing that they do. A game called Ashen, which apparently has been in development for quite a while, that is now out for Xbox and PC. Dragon Age 4 got teased, which we already knew anyway, because BioWare are working on several projects at the moment, including Anthem. Stranger Things 3 is going to be a game, so I don't know when this is going to come out in terms of when the series is coming out, but must be soon, because we're seeing different surroundings and things, so we're not seeing stuff that's already been shown in the actual TV series, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be coming out in conjunction maybe with Stranger Things 3 or just after.
I'm hoping next year then.
They've gone up from 8-bit to 16-bit as well now, and they've got more of an isometric view. It looks a little bit more interesting. It's more of a beat 'em up sort of type game now than it was before. I don't know. It wasn't basic before, but I think they've definitely upped the production this time, and it looks like it could actually be a good game.
Yeah, I like the art style of it. I think it's very detailed. I've always liked this kind of detailed pixel art style. I think it's really cool. Mortal Kombat 11 got an announcement, and it's crazy. And it was, instead of the sports and racing announcement, we just seen like Scorpion like chain go through the screen and say, "Get over here." I was like, I knew exactly what was going to be happening. It comes out April 23rd. I'm definitely getting Mortal Kombat 11 because I love the Mortal Kombat games. There's going to be more details on January the 17th, which makes me think that's going to be the official announcement and probably gameplay reveal. 21 Savage did the trailer music, which a lot of people were salty about, but I don't really know what other music you really want for it. Hip-hop's the biggest genre at the moment. Get over it.
That was very blunt, but...
It's true, though. I don't really get it. There's actual game publications writing articles about... We know the music behind the Mortal Kombat 11 trailer sucks. So here's some music alternatives to play in the background while you watch the trailer. Why are people writing articles about that, Tom?
Because unfortunately, that's what the media is in the modern day.
Like why? Like what is your problem? What, because you don't listen to rap music at all, you're gonna be really upset and say it's a terrible game? The people are saying the game's terrible because the music's not good. The game hasn't even been shown.
I don't get it. We'll move on. Fortnite revealed the block.
Yeah, that's their like new creative mode, which is like player-made creations will get showcased every week, month, maybe.
I think it's week or month. It was an interesting concept. Like as much as we used to bash Fortnite. They do seem to care about what people do, and this whole new creation stuff is very interesting, and they're doing something completely different again, so fair play to them. And then the final one, which I was excited about, because it just came out of nowhere.
Joker from Persona 5 is the first of 5 DLC character packs, along with new stages and music. Smash was just... It was just everywhere in this entire award show. Like every single advert that came on was interrupted by Mario punching someone in the head or something. Like, and the music just came on, and we were just like, again. Like, they must have paid so much money to have these adverts. And the way how the narrator was like, Smash coming out in about 2 minutes time. I'm just like, the game's already out.
Yeah, at one point I was just like, to be honest, I don't care. Like, I think I texted you, I don't care about this game anymore. Like, if you're watching the Video Game Awards at this time and you're this far into it and you don't know Smash is coming out, like
Smash is coming out, like, what are you doing? Like,
if you're watching the Video Game Awards alone and you don't know Smash is coming out, like, it's not a thing. Like, if people are that interested in it, they know Smash Brothers is coming out, and if they don't know Smash Brothers is coming out, by the 4th advert they've seen of the night, they know Smash Brothers is coming out.
Exactly. Other new announcements include... Yeah, so we've also got like a couple other games called Sayonara Wild Hearts. Was this really interesting, like, pop rhythm game? It looked a bit weird. It's on the Switch, had a nice art style. Journey to the Savage Planet, the Stanley Parable.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Was that the ape game?
No. That was Ancestors.
That was Ancestors.
Journey to the Savage Planet. I don't really know what it was. It seems a little bit like a No Man's Sky, in my opinion.
It's made by 505 Games.
Yeah, it's a upbeat first-person adventure game set in a bright, colourful alien world. So...
Yeah, it does look very much No Man's Sky.
No, it sounds like No Man's Sky to me. Stanley Parables come to consoles via the Ultimate Deluxe Edition, which is also coming on PC. That's really nice. There was a trailer for Psychonauts 2, another trailer for Rage 2, which made me really interested in Rage, actually, now.
Yeah,
seeing that trailer.
Also got a release date, 14th of May.
Yeah, 14th of May. Other new announcements included Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey, which looks insane. That's made by the team built up of guys from Ubisoft, a few more vets like from different studios. He's basically, it was the Assassin's Creed creator, innit? Well, one of the creators of Assassin's Creed. He's now got his own studio, and that's the game that he's decided to make, and it looks really interesting. I will be looking forward to seeing more about that. A team-based survival shooter called Scavengers, like we need any more. And Abzu Student Giant Squid, new game, The Pathless, looks really interesting as well. And Dauntless is getting released on consoles in 2019 and has a PC update out now called Frostfall. And that was every announcement at the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm. I must say, if you're a big fan of Zelda or Breath of the Wild, in particular, then The Pathless does look like a game that you could definitely be interested in if you own a PlayStation as well.
Yeah, definitely. It looks really, really good. We had a bunch of other things to talk about, but the Game Awards just took up too much of our time. We're definitely going to do a deep dive into all the Fallout bullshit that's been going on in the next show. And we also have some few bonus shows that are going to be coming up as well, which we're going to go in and talk about different things that we've missed off throughout the past, like a couple of weeks or whatever, that we thought that still needed to be talked about. So moving on, films and TV. Let's start off with the big one. Avengers 4. What did you think about the trailer?
Interesting. Because, right, I didn't realise this, but it looks like, well, spoilers first, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, but it looks like Ant-Man is going to play a much bigger part in this than we thought.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you know what, you know what the weird thing is? My uncle always told me that Ant-Man and Spider-Man would be needed to defeat Thanos, and I never really understood why. But then when I did some research about Ant-Man, he actually can do some really impressive shit. Like, he's actually really underrated. I didn't know he was actually that good, like, as a character. Like, he can... I'm not going to ruin it, because if you know what he can do, then you can know how he's going to be key into defeating Thanos.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's the van that he turned up in at the door has a portal to the quantum dimension in the back, apparently. And he got stuck in there the last time we seen him. And apparently he found his way out and possibly went into the future with the van and the portal. So there's like crazy rumours about what could be happening there. We also saw the return of what's his name? Can't think of his name. I think it's Black Hawk.
Hawkeye, who's now known as like
Clint.
This is his new character that he turns into. Like Hawkeye always like he goes back and like turns out he's like some next ninja badass, like who's like trained up to become like a sick assassin now. So yeah, he's going to be integral. We already know Captain Marvel's going to be integral into defeating Thanos as well. Mm-hmm. The trailer was... Karen.
I was just about to say we also got a second Captain Marvel trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on to next. Being with the Avengers 4 trailer, didn't really show much off. It was everyone just being a bit sad, like about what's happened in the world. Iron Man's floating in space. Doesn't really know what to do. Thanos is chilling, butt naked with no armor on.
got his armor up as a scarecrow.
That's what I'm saying. He's got his armor up now. Where is he, by the way? What is that area that he's on?
I think it's like it's an uninhabited planet. I think it's like his farm. It's his retirement farm.
I didn't know whether it was that or if he teleported himself inside of the Mind Stone or something, like, and that was like his solace place or whatever.
Nah, apparently it's a retirement farm. I mean, as all evil villains do, once you've wiped out 50% of the Earth, you have to go and find yourself a nice planet and become a farmer and just walk around naked most days.
I just think I just don't know why we're going to see anyway, aren't we? What really happened? But yeah, not much to really talk about now, guys. But Avengers it's soon. It's like April. Like, that is very soon. So it's only about 4 or 5 months away. And then Captain Marvel comes out in March as well. So that's about 3 months away. So I'm really interested to see how this is all going to turn out in the end. The Captain Marvel trailer was a bit more exciting than the Avengers trailer.
Yeah, I'm excited for this film. I'm just not entirely sure where exactly it's set place yet, like in the universe timeline, or there's a lot of stuff that is unaware at the moment until the film comes out and you sort of tie it up into the Avengers, and obviously it's all going to add together. We just obviously have to see where it comes. But, you know, coming out in March, and she will also play Captain Marvel again in Avengers 4, so they're coming out in very close proximity to each other, which means that, well, I think it's basically just going to be like a tie-over, isn't it, at the end?
Well, I hopefully it's just going to be a straight-up continuation. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like it is anyway, because at the end of Avengers Infinity War, you seen that, like, it was, remember, Nick Fury got the beeper from Captain Marvel as before he got, like, did he get vaporized? He did, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Just before, so I'm guessing maybe what I seen from the Captain Marvel trailer was that, like, Nick Fury knew Captain Marvel before he had the eye patch and everything.
Yeah, so Samuel L. Jackson's in this film.
Yeah.
So we know that it's obviously set somewhere in the timeline backwards, but where that fits into the current timeline, we don't know.
Yeah. So her beeping him at the end of the Avengers, I think, suggests that's going to be the end of Captain Marvel, which is then in turn going to bring on the beginning of the Avengers 4 Endgame.
Interesting.
It looks like the pieces are all together in place. I already have a couple of theories about what's going to happen with the Avengers after they defeat Thanos, because the Skrulls are in Captain Marvel, and the Skrulls are, I think that's usually the next thing, is the Secret War, which is like the Skrulls and like the Skrulls versus basically like everyone, and like Super Skrull, and it's going to get really interesting. Yeah, it's going to get really good.
We also heard stuff about Chris Evans. So apparently he was that was like Captain America over now after the Avengers 4. But the directors have come out and said that it might not be the last time he puts the suit on. So, you know, there is stuff that they're possibly working on here, and I think they're trying to keep it a bit more hush-hush for the next bit now. Because it's like another 3-phase plan then, isn't it, for Marvel Studios? Once the Avengers is done, it's back to stage 1 of the next phase plan. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with Marvel Studios as well, in the fact that the deal with Fox is now done, nearly. And you've showed this to me. Some of the directors now think X-Men and Deadpool will join the MCU, which is interesting in itself.
Well, I think, after the merger is a done deal, it's a given, because obviously they're going to have all the Fox IPs, you know, they've already got plans in place to what they're going to do with Hulu, and it's basically done. Do you know what I'm saying? They're already releasing, trying to release PG-13 versions of Deadpool and Territories in order to tie him into a much more family-friendly kind of, like, you know, much more family-friendly character rather than the 18 plus 15 characters that we've known to love. I think it's very interesting how they're going to actually incorporate X-Men and Deadpool. Will they reset Deadpool? Will they allow Ryan Reynolds to carry on with what he wants to do? I don't know.
Well, I'm also interested if we're going to get the Fantastic Four as well, because, you know, that reboot back in 2015, I think, was it? That sort of flopped, and the Final Fantasy back in the early 2000s was one of my favourite films. So I'd like to see them joining. So I don't think they're obviously going to join particularly into the whole story, but for them to sort of pop up or something, it would be nice to see that, and maybe get some fresh films from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's true. Well, in terms of like just Disney and Marvel, like IP and everything, it's just there's a lot of changes happening at the moment. Essentially, I swear we predicted this a few shows ago, where we said that all the Netflix Marvel series are going to get cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I just knew exactly that was coming, because there's no point in even bothering to carry on the series. Like, do you know what I'm saying? There's no point, not after now that Disney Plus has been announced and they've got Hulu. Like, what is the point of releasing shows under the platform? Whereas I don't know whether Netflix cancelled it or whether Disney phoned up Netflix and was like, yo, we don't want to carry on our partnership with you.
I think we know what's going on. I mean, Daredevil wasn't well received when it first came out, but the season 3 premiere and everything that went around that, it was highly anticipated and everyone loved the new series of Daredevil. It was really picking up speed again. But as we know, with the acquisition of, Fox by Disney, and Hulu possibly coming with that, and Disney launching their own service, we always knew that, cancellations were on the horizon. We already seen Iron Fist and Luke Cage get cancelled. There's 2 left now, Jessica Jones and The Punisher. How long before we see them get cancelled, who knows? But I think Daredevil is going to make a comeback, should we say, but on a different streaming platform.
Well, Marvel's already indicated anyway that there's plans for Daredevils in place already. So
I think they saw how popular it was becoming and thought, we need to snatch that now.
Yeah, we need to bring it over to our platform, which they can easily still do. So just continue all the seasons over on the other networks, on Hulu or whatever.
Well,
that's the best thing to do.
What was it? Netflix had 0 ownership stake in the IP. So we'll have to see. I don't know what that means for bringing over old series if they're produced by Netflix. But if they're not, and they get pulled from Netflix, you just add them back to another streaming service and continue it from there. We've seen Netflix do it with shows that have been on TV and aired years ago, and they've brought them back for a reboot and then tagged them a Netflix original.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's true. Like, I didn't know. Like, recently, I was just with my girlfriend. We were watching Final Space, and I didn't know that was originally a TBS show. Like, it was actually on TV. I thought it was a Netflix original, but it's a really, really good show. I don't know if you watched it or anything.
Is that the cartoon?
Yeah, Final Space. Executed by Conan O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really good. You should definitely watch it if you haven't checked it out.
No, I watched it when it came out.
Oh, you watched it? Oh,
yeah.
Damn, yeah. We need to discuss it, man. It's really, really good. I've only just watched it. It's like I've finished it all. It's very good. So yeah, I can't wait for season 2.
There's a lot of things that people are. We know that Netflix has bought a lot of new IPs anyway, making their own IPs and buying existing comic IPs and fantasy IPs, and Amazon are doing the same. So yeah, they're going to rival Disney now with things from other areas that cover the same sort of spectrum. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of that. What DC are going to be doing, I'm not sure, because
oh my god,
we'll have to wait and see.
We already. That is one of the topics that we have to talk about, because DC at the moment, I can't really see a way out for them. Like, it's just too much. It's just way too much.
There was need to cover this as well, because I haven't put it down, but there's rumors this week that, well, not this week, but there's always been rumors, but apparently Joaquin Phoenix, however you say it, his Joker in the new Joker film might not actually be the Joker as we know him. it's set when Bruce Wayne is still a kid and his parents are alive, and the Joker in the film, his character Arthur, is around 50, I believe. So it means that by the time he actually grows up, Bruce Wayne, the Joker will be in like his 70s, which isn't really fitting to the story that we know and love. So it's either saying that this Joker is like what inspired both the Batman and the Joker we know, because the Joker's inspired by him.
He's like he's an inspiration. Like, okay. Well, I'm interested in seeing what they do with that anyway, because I think that's quite interesting. I think that's going to be.
Sorry, go on.
It's going to be the better Joker film anyway.
Yeah, or there's the other thing where the Joker's always been depicted as a different character in a lot of things anyway. Like, it's never had a set name or a set age. He's just had the same look. So the other idea is that it's not necessarily the Joker as a character, but the idea of having that Joker personality in the evil guy against Batman is what the Joker is in itself. The Joker character isn't just one person. It's like the epitome of that style.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see where they're taking it. Obviously, it's a fresh story, and it's a different way for the series or the franchise to move on. But it's interesting either way. If they do start it up as a prequel and have it as an inspiration, it could lead to big things for DC in the Batman universe on the big screen. If it's not, we'll have to see where they take it, but who knows?
For sure. Definitely. Obviously, guys, we're definitely like running out of time here. Just a quick one. Talking about like new IPs and everything that was coming to Netflix. Ghost in the Shell's coming. Sack. Standalone Complex 2045. So that seems like it's going to be a brand new Ghost in the Shell, because the last one was Standalone Complex was set. I think it was set before that. So, and it's going to have co-directed by like the Standalone Complex Kenji Kamiyama and Appleseed Shinji Araki, which is like their two goats of cyberpunk anime. So that should be really, really good. And I'm happy to see something new from the Ghost of the Shell, which isn't the Scarlett Johansson one, which is what we had since. Mm-hmm. But also, did we talk about this last time about Cowboy Bebop getting in live action?
I don't think it was released or announced at the time. Last time.
Yeah, that's something else that's a bit interesting. I don't know how to really feel about that, but yeah, I'm not guess
sure.
We're gonna see. We'll see. We'll just have to see. Also, Bumblebee's out as well. If just in case you wanted to know. No,
that film does look interesting to me. I think it could be the start of a nice reboot for the Transformers franchise, because it got a bit lackluster towards the end, and the new Bumblebee film is a lot more. I can't think of the word. It's a lot closer to the source material than what we saw before when the first Transformers came out, and they were more of they weren't as stylized. They were just sort of there to look good on the big screen. Yeah. Whereas now it's a lot more close to the source material. Bumblebee's not this big Chevy and everything. He is just a little car that he was, and I like that. Yeah, I think it's what Transformers was about.
I think it's really cool, but I ain't really trying to see John Cena in this still. Not trying to see John Cena in this at all. There's tons of film now come out. Spider-Verse is out now as well, which you're all gonna go see.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see that soon.
But yeah, anyway, okay, we're definitely moving on now to music. This is gonna be, we're gonna try and keep it concise because we're trying not to go over. So new releases, just fill in any that I've missed out, because I'm sure I have. Facade Records EP by Domo Genesis, Key and Kenny Beats 77 Deluxe EP, Chance the Rapper released 2 new singles, Street Gossip by Lil Baby, some rap songs by Earl Sweatshirt, possibly rap album of the year. The 1975 Evil Genius by Gucci Mane, Skins by Triple X Tentacion, Championships, Stokely, Champion Settings by Daps on the Map, Bread EP by Alchemist, Brainfeeder X by Brainfeeder, which is a collaborative album over the 10 years of Brainfeeder, so gonna have new songs and old songs in there. I think I said Evil Geniuses, that's by Gucci Mane. Stokely was by Ski Mask. Championships is by Meek Mill. Very impressive project, by the way. And I think that's about it. The 1975's album is really good as well.
Yeah. The other thing is, Spotify released a Spotify singles thing of Mac Miller. We can't put it on the playlist because obviously our playlist is cross-platform. We want it on both Apple Music and Spotify to have the same music on it. But they did release two singles that he did live at their New York studios, Dunno and Nothing From Nothing. And they also are releasing vinyls for that. I don't know if they're still doing that, but go and check. They're doing a blue vinyl for that limited edition, and all the money raised does go towards a charity for Mac Miller.
Oh, okay. That's really nice. I like stuff like that. Are we going to talk about this in this episode, or we're going to leave it? It's like, because Grammy noms are out, aren't they?
Yeah. To be honest, I haven't looked over too much of the Grammy nominations.
All right, we'll leave that. We'll leave it.
I know Mark finally got nominated for a Grammy, unfortunately. But
he passed away. I think it's a really unfortunate way of getting a Grammy nomination, but
I did say it was improving, and I don't want to be mean and say that people pick the Grammy nominations based on that, but it's a bit upsetting that his music comes so far and now it's sort of overshadowed because people are going to say that's the reason why. But,
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, that it happens, and it's still nice to see him getting recognised.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, he's going to get a tribute at the Grammys. So, really, I don't even really care about the Grammys that much anymore. Like, we already know what it is. It's some bullshit sometimes. So we'll see when the Grammys actually comes on what it's going to be like.
Can I also point out something that we haven't got down here, but just a short thing. I don't know if you've seen Eminem's freestyle that he released the other day.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm guessing you did them, considering that's the reaction. I don't know what he's trying to do. You can't bring stuff like terrorist bombings up in a rap and try and use it against people. You can't accuse Justin Bieber trying to sell drugs and Ariana Grande of doing just go and make your music.
Like, what is he talking about anymore?
He's just trying to get a reaction to stay relevant, and he's ended up pissing off. He's ended up pissing off women in their 40s who, don't listen to his music anyway. But like the remaining people that did listen to his music, that are kids or people that like his older stuff, he's just putting them off. He just needs to stop and leave it. Like, yeah, okay, you're not relevant anymore. You don't have to be up there and stay relevant. You're still one of the top selling artists of all time. Don't ruin that for yourself.
I'm saying stuff like, literally though, like, why do you have to? Like, why do you have to carry on with these same gimmicks? Like, why do you have to keep rapping this way? Like, you don't need to. Why are you Eminem, a mega superstar who sells out shows and does Wembley Stadium? Why are you still talking about rape on a rap? Why are you doing that for? It's like, why? It's true though. Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, he doesn't need to be doing that.
Like, the time, and how rap is at the moment, and you as an artist, and people just don't like you, Eminem. So, are you then gonna just make yourself even more unlikable?
I'm trying to say, I think he is. He's definitely in the top 50 of all time, selling artist-wise anyway. Or he was. He is 32nd. He sold 45.5 million units throughout his career. He's up there with people like Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses, Elton John, Shania Twain, Kenny G, like Fleetwood Mac, Neil Diamond, Celine Dion. Like, he is a man of his time. Like, he sold more records in his time than Santana. He needs to realise that he's going to ruin his legacy if he doesn't stop doing this dumb shit. Like, fair enough if he was younger and he's pulling this stuff, like, I can understand that he's younger and he's trying to get a bit of attention and he sees that as a way to publicise himself, but he's been there and done it. He knows not to do stupid shit.
But it's the fact that, like, he attacks also, like, other artists who used to be fans of him, like Tyler and Ill, just over the simple fact that they said that Eminem doesn't make good music anymore. And that's true. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't make good music anymore. He didn't
need to attack innocent people that got killed.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't need to do that. Why is he bringing that up for? Why is he possibly bringing that up for? Like, what is his problem? He's a fool.
I also don't know why he accused Justin Bieber of selling drugs. Like, I don't know if there's any truth or not in that or whatever. And I've not seen anything that Justin Bieber said about him, but he just seems to be pulling these people that are relevant. Like, there's no coincidence that Ariana Grande is probably the biggest person in pop right now. And then he's pulled something like that. And Justin Bieber
why did he have to say anything about it? Like, you know, like, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, he obviously saw that his stuff with Machine Gun Kelly didn't work last time, so he's gone after higher potential people now. And I don't know. I'm getting a bit fed up with the guy, to be honest. It's making me upset that he used to make good music, and you listen to it now and you don't want to go and listen to his old music because he is doing what he's doing. Like, he is ruining his legacy.
Yeah, it definitely is. I just don't know. But speaking of legacies and people trying to leave a mark, we all know what's happened to 6ix9ine, aka Daniel Hernandez. He was on track to beat Astro World with Dummy Boy, but Astro World was supposed to have beaten him out to the top spot, but then Nielsen actually had a discrepancy with the numbers and refinalized the charts to say that 6ix9ine was the true number one album, but Travis Scott was already published as number one. Nothing has really been said by any camp at the moment. Obviously 6ix9ine can't say much. He's only got academics as his mouthpiece, and Travis hasn't really said much in terms of what's happened either. I can only see this as Nielsen and Billboard and Hits Daily Double, like, all these guys, they need to get their shit together to make sure that the numbers are right, because obviously numbers are really important now, and number ones and shit are so important to people, to the fact of where, like, you know, it's people put it on Instagram like, I'm number one and all this kind of stuff, and it starts to make people look stupid. Then they started talking about how they minus Travis Scott's bundles out of the numbers, so that means that his numbers were lower significantly. And I was just like, well, everyone's doing little things that they can do to build up the numbers. You know, you're never going to be the same where people are buying physical CDs anymore.
To be honest, I don't know who was buying the album. It's all I want to say, because, like, I've not really listened to it.
I'm not listening to it.
I've heard it played, but I've not listened to it. It didn't sound a great album. The reviews were not great. The features were good quality, you could say, like, artist-wise, good quality features. I've not heard them, so I don't know what the features were like, but the crop of artists he got were good quality artists. That, again, though, doesn't sell albums, and I don't know if... I don't know if he would have sold that many albums. It just, we'll have to see what develops if he does become number one or not. But you know, I'm sort of happy he didn't get the number one spot.
Yeah, oh, well, I'm happy he didn't get the number one spot either because I just don't like him. Like, obviously, I know what he does, and I know how he moves, and I still don't like him. Yeah, musically, it might sound good, but still, I can't support someone who's had such charges like that, and more charges are coming out about him as well. So I'm not really trying to associate myself with that. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I don't even know if I want to say that it's great music.
I don't think it's just loud. It's very hype. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's other better music out there than him.
Such as Travis. So I think...
Yeah, exactly.
I think deserving of that number one spot for me. It's nice to see it go back to near the top anyway. It's nice to see Astroworld back near the top again. Travis has worked hard for that, and he definitely is thankful to a lot of people that he's worked with. And, you know, even if his album didn't go to number one, the single still went to number one for a small time as well. Again, Sicko Mode went back to number one. So,
yeah, it's just a big moment. Also a big moment for Drake as well, who's had numerous number ones this year. So
yeah, I've got to say Drake's had an insane year.
Post Malone's had a really good year.
Post Malone's Spotify stats, I sent them to you the other day when I seen them, and it's crazy from seeing a guy that we listened to. Well, we literally was like, I was on a Hot New Hip Hop one day and found White Iverson. I showed you, and the guy was like unknown, and now to see him just doing 5 billion plays in a year, it's mad to think how it's not even, it's 4 years ago.
I know, it is. That's just all like those SoundCloud people like Lil Yachty, Playboy Carti, all these people. I never expected Ski Mask, all these people that I found on SoundCloud. Never expected them to really blow up, get to this point of their like career, and they're so massive now. And I am very happy they've got to the point where like they're this big.
Should point out it might be 5 years ago, not 4 years ago. Just in case anyone tries to call me out on that.
Yeah, it was about 2014, I think. Anyway, White Iverson came out.
It might be 2013.
It got re-released though, you know.
Yeah,
remember, we heard it the first version of it, but then it got re-released on a label with 300. So
I think it was 2013.
It was first year of college, I'm sure, for sure. But yeah, just the last little topic that we've got. Meat Mill came out really strong, 208k first week. That's impressive first week from Meat Mill. Championship's a really good album, by the way. Definitely go and listen to that. He's definitely talking some different shit on there that we haven't heard from Meek before. The 1975, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, did 84k, which is really modest and really good for 1975. That's good for them. Their sound isn't exactly something that could be heard amongst the masses, so they do have a small fan base, really, don't they? But it's more the concert festival crowd that like the 1975.
To be honest, like, I've always liked a little bit of their music, but I've never been like fully into their album. This album, though, it's like, I wouldn't say it's the best album I've ever listened to. It's a good album, but some of the songs are really good songs. Like, they've really put time and effort into some of them. And they switched the sound up a little bit as well, which I like.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear as well. I think that it's when I was talking to like a really hardcore fan of the 1975, they were like, "Oh, this album is a lot more different in the sound." Like, they used to be really, really indie rock back in the day. That's what I always used to think about them. But now they're like alternative pop, more towards in the same vein as like some of the songs in there. You could even say sounds kind of like The Neighborhood or like Brockhampton. So like,
yeah, it's more experimental.
Or Blonde by Frank Ocean. You can hear the influence on this. from that album.
Yeah, I'd say it's more experimental and more, I know, like, it's not living if it's not with you. No, Sincerity is Scary.
Yeah.
Is a lot more jazzier, and there's use of like trumpets and stuff that they never used to have before. It was just sort of like a lot of guitars and a bit grungy, you could say.
This sounds a bit more like synth pop, more like dream pop, more like, you know, things like that. It's very dreamy. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, it's the way the sounds and stuff like that sounds. It just sounds really good. Ski Mask, Stokely did 61k. That's amazing for Ski Mask. I've never expected him to do such numbers. And same for Little Baby. Little Baby did 52k, which is amazing. So, oh no, wait, I've read the numbers wrong. Little Baby did 84k, which is insane. Yeah, Little Baby did 84k. 1975 did 61k, and Ski Mask did 52. Which is all still great numbers, but I did not expect Lil Baby to do 84.
Right, it's the thing though, isn't it? Like, we've discussed this before, and you were just discussing it then. The fact that streaming and stuff now takes into account completely different to what you'd normally see.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot easier. I should point out as well, I think Earl did 28 to 33k.
That's modest. That's what I expect from Earl.
But, what you see now is more people don't really buy the music, they buy the albums anymore. It's all about the streaming, so it's a lot more accessible to see these artists and listen to these artists than it was before. You don't have to go out and buy their album if you've never heard of them before. You can just listen to it and go, you know what, I like this, I might actually buy it, or I might just keep it in my library and listen to it on a regular basis. Whereas before, it was a case of you either bought the album or you didn't buy the album. So it's nice to see that there's more variety in music now, and these artists are getting more of a chance. And you know, there's recognition there. People like Shekwes that, you know, even Travis was like shouting him out the other day, saying that he's on the rise and stuff like that. Now it's nice to see that.
Yeah, it's really just music is just in a different space at the moment. That's just something else that we could also really, really delve into. But I think that is everything. Got any last words? Anything?
There's not a lot for me. Just things like, probably just mention, if you are like getting angry about anything in games or stuff at the moment with the stuff that's going on, don't try and like overreact and get aggressive and shout abuse at these people. Like, at the end of the day, the developers that made that game still put a lot of hard work and effort in, and it's not their fault. And
exactly,
people don't see the decisions that are being made above by business people. And we've seen it with Blizzard, we've seen it with Bethesda now, we've seen it with EA. You know, there's still hard-working people that work for these companies. They do care about games and they do want to make good games. But the trouble is, if you've got a deadline set and you've got so much that you can do, and there's people above you telling you you've got to do this, it's not within your rights to go and change that from what they want. We've seen it with, was it Metal Gear? Where the developers put in something for Kojima?
Yeah, we did.
We've seen it with that. You know, you could tell these people have made a game and it's shit. Well, that came out a bit wrong. But yeah, Metal Gear Survive was not a good game. I should probably take back the word shit, but it was not a good game. Well,
no, we're being honest here. I'll say it. That game was shit. Alright? It was shit. Kojima knew it was shit. The whole community was sad. Me as a Metal Gear fan, was upset to see my favourite franchise be shat on like that and be mishandled in such a way where I was angry. I'm never ever going to play that game. You would never ever see me ever play that game. Because it was a shit game and it was poor. You don't even hear about the game anymore. Do you know why? Because no one plays it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The thing is that these people still, like, yeah, okay, the game might got some slack when it came out, and like you might be angry as a fan of the series, and you know you vouched that for the time being at the company for a little bit.
Yeah.
But you don't shout abuse at them, and you don't.
Oh no! I would never ever go to a dev and be like, "Yo, you game shit," because I know for a fact they're doing their job. Like they have to. Like I'm pretty sure they didn't want to do that. Well, they've got families to feed. They've got all sorts of stuff. Sometimes, as much as I said, when you start to have families and you got a house and you got mortgages and you got bills, morals start to get a little bit sticky. In terms of like what you want to do in your game.
Mm-hmm. And also, controversially, but at the end of the day, Konami's still a company. I'm not defending Konami for the way they handled that. I'm not defending that at all. But at the end of the day, the people that run that company are still businessmen, and it's changed hands, and the people want to make money certain ways. And if that's how they want to make money and run a business, it's their business. Like,
yeah,
you can vouch for them and say that it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. You can shout abuse at them, but it's not going to change that. Do what people have done with the Bethesda thing. Write an open letter, explain from a community point of view what you want changing in a nice way, in a formal way, and you know if you interact with the company in that way as a fan base, they may interact the same back with you. If you just shout abuse at them and you know, they sort of then, like we covered earlier at the start, if you act like a child, you're probably going to get treated like a child because they think that you're gullible and just going to buy anything that gets given to you.
Exactly. That's why you need to start voting with your wallet. Don't buy these games if they're broken. Don't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's my last thoughts on everything. If it's broke, don't buy it.
Yeah. Wait for the reviews. There's streamers now. There's YouTube. They get sent free codes to play the games early sometimes. You can watch, you can get reception. Do your research. You know, don't spend you work hard to get your money. Don't just go out and spend it on anything you want and pre-order. Just research when the game comes out. Don't be as impatient to want to get the game. I really want to play Red Dead and Pokemon. I don't have the money to buy it, and it makes me sad that I have to watch other people play it. But, you know, at least I know when I get the game, it's going to be a solid investment for me.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. I would definitely agree with everything that Tom just said. This has been episode 21. I know it was a bit more serious in tone this episode, but I felt like, you know, there's some serious things needed to be talked about in terms of our community and how it's going and how the industry is going as well. As I said before, we'll be following up with some bonus episodes to keep you lot tied over the Christmas, so we can, you know, we're still giving you our thoughts and opinions. We're going to do a few special episodes like end of year lists for games, films and music, and we'll have some other topics that we're going to have as well for you. Don't forget to check us out on Dash as well. That's every Thursday. I always forget the time. When is it? What, 7 p.m.
Pacific time.
7 Pacific time and 3 a.m. GMT, because it's not British summertime anymore.
Well, it might be. Yeah, that means it might be 2 a.m. GMT.
2 a.m. GMT. And run everything. Spreaker. Catch it on the 808s and Joysticks.com, the website. Everything. Instagram, 808s and Joysticks. Twitter, 808s and Joystick. No S. Check out the weekly playlist on Apple Music and Spotify. Just search 808s and Joysticks weekly playlist to find us. All the playlists should be archived back there. I think I've sorted them all out now, so they should have like a bio and they should all be live. Yeah, that's about it. I think it's been another great episode. Episode 21. See you guys another time.
If you liked any of the music in today's show, then please check the credits in the description to see what songs we used.